Welcome to Brew with Miss Baritone. I'm your host, Chicky Baritone, and this is my podcast. I'm gonna give it to you all black, no creamer, no sugar, no honey. So join me as I brew up some life-giving conversations with some dope people. Welcome to Brew Miss Baritone. I am so excited about my next guest. She wears many hats. She's an awesome and amazing woman of God. And some of those hats include, but are not limited to, certified executive coach, author, and CEO of Resource Solutions. Please welcome to the podcast, Miss Katrina Hutchins, better known as Dr. K.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. So thrilled to finally have this moment. I've been checking out this podcast since you started.
Okay.
And it's absolutely amazing to physically be in the space with you. So thank you so much for the invitation.
It is truly my honor. And what's very special about this space is everyone that is in this space, I don't necessarily have a personal relationship with. I have an extremely personal relationship with you, and the many hats that our relationship has is not just friend, but I look up to you. You're a mentor to me. It's moments because of your motherly love and instincts. You feel like a mom to me. You feel like so many different people, and I just appreciate God allowing our relationship to blossom and bloom into what it has been and what it continues to be.
Absolutely. And I think that's why I savor this moment so much, because it's not just about this moment. I know the journey to here.
Yeah.
Because I've been able to watch you over the years, I think probably decades now.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very
accurate.
accurate.
You getting here and to see the manifestation of what God has done and your evolution and what he's continuing to do in your life. So it does make my mama heart proud.
Thank you so much.
Not just my friend heart, but my mama heart, because I've seen your growth. I've seen your development. I've even seen you bounce back from adversity. I've been able to watch your resilience, and I've seen you just embody a dedication and an intentionality to live your life for the glory of God. And I know, first of all, that pleases the Father.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful that I have a front row or just a seat in your audience to be able to watch you. And I'm applauding you every step of the way.
I hear your applause. And I thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. This moment is special because we can literally talk forever and ever, but unfortunately we don't have all that time to talk. Because you know what you have contributed with your life over the years has been a gift to so many people. And when I think about your story, young mother, married, having 2 children, going through school, and persevering, like what your life and what God has done and having his hand on your life from that moment up until now is truly amazing. And you know, I want to start there. I want to start at that journey, especially with young women who feel like, you know, it's so hard. It's so hard to be able to have children, raise children, and still have a career and do what I want to do and make my kids proud and be able to, you know, raise some amazing young people. What did you go through in your mind to combat those challenges as a young mother?
Sure. And I love sharing that part of my story. So let's go back. Let's go back there.
Absolutely.
So had been married for many years and entered into that marriage with a high school diploma and had my 2 children. You know, fast forward through those years, marriage ended. And I left the marriage with a high school diploma.
Wow.
And just literally staring into the faces of my children and recognizing I've got to give them more. And to be able to give them more, I've got to position myself to be able to do that. So literally went back to school shaking in my boots. So let me just give you a brief snippet of what those days look like.
Sure.
I worked 2 part-time jobs during the day,
Mm.
went and lived with my mom so that I could save money, right?
Right.
So worked those 2 part-time jobs during the day. So our day would start with me dropping the children off at school,
Yeah.
going to work those 2 part-time jobs, going back to pick them up from school, coming home and helping them do homework, getting them ready for bed, and then I left to go to school in the evening. And sat in classes until 9:30 at night, came back home, kissed them as I went to my room to study for exams, to write papers, some nights cry myself to sleep, and then get up the next morning to do it over and over again. But I had this great desire
Yeah.
that it had to be bigger than me.
Yeah.
Right? And so that desire was fueled by a better future for us. And so I did that year after year until I graduated, summa cum laude. Yay! I gotta raise it. I gotta raise that up, right?
Absolutely.
So left that institution
Yes.
and went straight on into my master's program. Same situation, working with my 2 little children, and graduated with my master's degree with the highest honor in our master's class.
Wow.
Why do I mention that? Because there was also something that was central to that process, and that was the God factor.
Yes.
And he gave me favor throughout that process. Now, let me include this.
Yes.
Was it coming up roses? Absolutely not. Did you hear me say I cried myself to
That's
sleep
right.
some nights?
I heard it.
But here's the thing. I wanna say this and emphasize this for your listeners
Sure.
who may be in that situation,
Sure.
feeling like, number one, it's too late for me. I was almost 40 when this was happening.
Come on. Come on.
Right? They may be saying, well, I don't have the support I need. There is always a village for us if we take the time to find it.
That's good.
Yeah?
That's good.
And so the village, the timing, yes, we do have it. Some people even said, well, I don't want to get in debt. It is a debt worth taking.
Woo!
Right? Because it is a return on your investment.
Yes.
And so as I sit here now with 3 degrees, and not to brag,
Sure.
but to talk about the hard work and the dedication
Yes.
and the desire
Yes.
for something bigger than me.
Yeah.
And as I went through that process, here's what I learned. I had something to contribute to the earth.
Yes.
That it wasn't just by accident,
Right.
but that I was going through that process because I had something to give back.
Yeah.
And so when I went back to earn my doctorate, I didn't know kind of what God was going to do with
Right.
that. But I love that he fashioned it in a way that it allowed me to break through one of the hardest challenges I had as a little girl and as a woman, and that was the loss of my voice. And so now my research is very steeped in helping women, helping girls
Yeah.
understand the power of our voices. And so all of that trajectory,
Yeah.
right, was toward this greater end and this greater deposit in the earth, which is the power of our voices.
Yes, absolutely. And you cannot say that enough. You have a wonderful platform that is not only centralized to talking about voice, but you did something even before then. You proclaimed to the world that I am God's girl for real.
Yes.
Tell me about the inspiration behind creating, this proclamation, this declaration that women can really hold on, and they may have even been saying it and not recognizing the power behind it. So talk to them about how that came about.
That came about out of darkness. So let me really talk about the dark days of the story I started with. So even during that time, I faced some really dark times. But as a church girl,
Yeah.
I was still going to church.
Yeah.
and wearing that blessed and highly favored smile
Yeah.
when everything in me felt like it was breaking.
Yeah.
Literally breaking. So here I am going through a separation and going through a divorce, right? And not wanting to face the reality that sometimes there is that stigma attached to Christianity and the breakup of a marriage, right?
That's real.
So I'm trying to fake it through that
Yeah.
until the pain of that got so dark that it led me to the brink of suicide.
Wow. Wow.
So coming back from that, I started to understand I may not be crossing every T,
Yeah.
I may not be dotting every I, but here is one thing I know for sure: God loves me,
Yes.
and I'm his girl for real.
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
That's good.
And it came out of that dark place where that declaration started to become my strength. I would have to wake up and look at myself in the mirror and say, God, I know you love me, and I'm your girl for real. And so I started saying that to other women. Even as I would introduce myself, I would say, I'm God's girl for real, right?
Yeah.
And then before I knew it, other women started saying, me too.
Right.
I'm his girl for real too, right?
Yes.
And it became a thing.
Yeah.
And so now, even on our Facebook network, I think there are almost 4,000 women
Wow.
in the Facebook group.
Yes.
I'm God's girl for real.
Yeah.
And so I started hosting conferences the last 5 years.
Yes.
Pandemic kind of halted that.
Yeah.
But for 5 years, I hosted the I'm God's Girl for Real conference. And it became a movement as well as a declaration. So that light came out of very, very dark times.
Yes. You know, and one thing I can appreciate about you is you move just like how Jesus moved. You move outside of the church in a way that you have been able to represent God even in the marketplace.
Yes.
And the birthing of your company, Resource Solutions.
Yes.
Tell me about the genesis of this beautiful gift that you have packaged up in this firm that you're
Yeah.
giving back to the world.
So after my graduate degree, I
Yeah.
got an amazing job in philanthropy,
Yes.
right? Which
Yeah.
was the favor of God, because here I am, a new graduate, but got hired at this amazing organization where I was able to work and have access to nonprofits across the state of South Carolina. And I was a leader in that organization. And as a result of that, I started to tap into this part of me that felt like I was good at what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
And how I wanted to be able to help organizations build their capacity, focus on their greatest asset, which are the people in their organizations.
Sure.
And so I worked in that organization for almost 10 years until I started feeling the pull of God into my own company to do this work under the umbrella of Resource Solutions. And so here I am again, shaking in my boots because
Yeah.
I'm stepping into the unknown.
Yeah.
But the way that Resource Solutions was birthed is kind of that being uncomfortable where I was and recognizing there is more,
Yeah.
right? There is more. And so took that leap of faith, stepped out into my company full time in 2015. The name Resource Solutions came from the fact that I had come to understand that God was my source. And means to do again and again and again.
Yes.
And so Resource Solutions simply means, for me internally, that God will do it in this company again and again and again. And over the years, we have watched the success of our company
Yeah.
really be the fact that God is blessing it over and over and over again. And so I have this honor to work with organizations across the country, now internationally. Yay, COVID. That was
Okay.
one of the things
Wow.
that came out of COVID, because
Yeah.
it allowed us to virtually be in other countries.
Yes, yes.
But our company focuses on professional development, executive coaching, diversity, equity, and inclusion, conflict management, and negotiation. We literally go into organizations and, as I said, help leaders and managers recognize the value of investing in their people.
Yes.
And the transformation in the marketplace has been amazing. And here's the secret. Can I share?
Absolutely.
I'll just
Go
share it
ahead.
with you.
Y'all
Let me
getting a
just share it
secret,
with
huh?
you, okay?
Oh, with me, but okay.
All
Yeah.
right, okay.
We all listening.
Right. So the secret is simply this. I never forget God in this company.
How about that?
So no matter what room I'm walking in,
Yes.
no matter what stage I'm stepping on,
Yes.
I enter one word, Emmanuel, God with us.
God with us, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I invite the presence of the Holy Spirit into those spaces.
Yeah.
And people don't always know what they've encountered,
Yeah.
because I don't walk in. It's a secular arena.
Sure.
It's the marketplace.
That's right.
I don't walk in with the big gold chain around my neck and the living room Bible tucked under my arm.
Right.
But I assure you,
Yeah.
I invite the presence of the Holy Spirit no matter where we are. And when he shows up, transformation happens.
Yes.
And so our company has been blessed as a company of transformation. I don't have to do marketing.
Right.
Never had a marketing campaign. But I've never lacked clients.
Look at that.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's been the word of mouth, as people call it.
Yeah.
But who puts the word in our mouths? God, right? And so I feel so blessed. And I feel that way even as I teach my students. And so I have the awesome opportunity to pour this back into students in higher education as a
Yes.
professor. So I share this journey with them as well. And so I feel so blessed
Yes.
to be in this place. Tamala Mann has a song that says something about, I never knew that favor or being blessed could feel this way. And I'm so grateful for this moment.
And what a
Yeah.
complete circling of events for God to take you from that young mother going to college
Yeah.
to now you turn around and being a professor and speaking life into young women that I'm sure that are part of your classes.
Yes.
That also have young kids.
Absolutely.
What is that like for you? I know there in those moments you have to be professor. But are those also moments that you are mom and your mentor as well?
Absolutely. I am always very clear. Like, I love all my students. So
Sure.
let me give that disclaimer in case some of them are watching.
That's right.
I love them all. But it has never failed that there's been a woman or women
Yeah.
in each of my classes, in
Yeah.
each of the cohorts, that literally became my God assignment.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I've had this opportunity to pour back into them, to give back in a very real way, to really start to look at and consider what my legacy looks like.
Yes.
And again, not from an arrogant place, because we all should be considering what our legacy
Absolutely.
looks like. What are we
Absolutely.
leaving behind? What are we contributing? What will people say about us
Right.
when we're no longer here?
Right.
And how have we made the world better
Right.
as a result
That's
of us
right.
being in it?
Right.
And so I just so appreciate with honor, right?
Yeah.
With honor, that I get to do this and that those ladies invite me on their journeys, because they don't have to. And because they do, I find great honor in that. So it's a privilege for me to be able to give back in that way.
And I think sometimes I'm an advocate for the fact that you would never not need a mentor. I think we have grown up to feel like mentorship is only for a certain phase of life, and at that point you're good to go.
Yeah.
But what I've been very open and honest and really advocating is for young people to have a mentor for every area of their life.
Absolutely.
You are in a lot of different arenas, not just personally, but also through ministry. Tell me, how do you go about picking your mentors for those areas?
You know, I've been so blessed. I feel like they found me.
That's actually even better.
Because I've not always been in pursuit of that.
Yeah.
But they would show up. I really believe that God will cause the entire universe to conspire to meet us where we are at our greatest point of need. And so my mentors, my coaches, my therapists
Come on
have
now.
shown up. Because can I say,
Sure.
I also believe in Jesus plus therapy.
Absolutely.
Plus medicine if you need it.
That's exactly right. Absolutely.
So removing that stigma.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Sometimes there's that thought is, you know, all I need is a little more Jesus. Yeah, we do. But there are some things in the earth that we are supposed to be accessing for our own well-being, our own mental health, therapy, coaching,
Yes.
mentors. Those are those people who come alongside us to help keep us lifted. My sister has a very phenomenal way of capturing that. She calls those people God with skin on them.
Wow.
Right? So God will send us people.
I love it.
Right? That
Yeah.
embody his spirit.
Right.
That serve a specific purpose in our lives. And sometimes if we're not careful, we're dismissing the very people that God sent to meet specific needs on our journey.
Yes.
Right? Because we're caught up in stigmas and, you know, all of those kind of religious ways of viewing help.
Yeah. Come on.
And if we're not careful, we will be dismissing help from our lives
Yes.
that God sent. We're praying for assistance. We're praying and asking God to intervene. And then he sends people and we analyze them right out of our lives.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. So one thing I admire so much about you is I always have said that ministry happens in home first before you can go out to minister to people.
That's right.
Your home is your first ministry.
That's right.
You are Mimi. You have beautiful children, you know, and you're not exempt from any challenges than anybody else.
Absolutely.
As it relates to being a parent and being present and wanting the best for your family unit. What advice would you give for some of these young couples that are really just trying to juggle it and manage it all and feeling like they don't always have the help to show up? We all have a tribe, but maybe it's not always, you know, identified as such, you know, in the form of family.
Sure.
It may come in the form of someone who is not even blood related. What advice would you give them? I mean, we are now living in a time of so much accessibility. It's so much accessibility to different resources. But, you know, I'm sure someone is watching this and they're stuck. What would be some of the tools that you will point them to if someone came to you and said, hey, I just need help. I want to know, you know, I want to do some of the things that you're doing, but I don't even know how to go about doing it. What would you say to them?
Well, first of all, let me say this,
Yes.
because I am a pastor's wife. That's a whole other part.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So I would start by saying, number one, prioritize your priorities.
Good.
Prioritize your priorities. And a part of prioritizing our priorities is becoming masterful at setting boundaries. So many of us can't get to our God assignments because we don't have healthy boundaries.
That's good.
We don't have the healthy ability to say no.
Yeah.
Amen, somebody. I'm going to pause while people raise hand and feet because I know I'm talking to somebody.
Yes, you are.
Because I meet women all the time, even in my coaching and even serving as the leader of our women's department in our ministry.
Yes.
The inability to say no
Yes.
is sometimes the greatest sabotager of success,
Gosh, that's good.
right?
Yeah.
And here's where I tell people to start. Start easy, right? N-O, not obligated.
Wow, that's good.
Check to see whether or not you're obligated before you say yes. So somebody's asking you something, pause long enough to consider. It may be a phone call. Let me get back to you on that. It may be a text message. I will let you know. What are you doing in the interim? You're checking in with yourself. Do I have the space to do this?
Yeah.
Do I have the energy to do this?
Yeah.
Do I literally have the time to do this? Do I even have the heart to do it?
Come on now.
Is it within my assignment to do it?
Come on now.
What are you doing? You're checking your obligation.
Wow, that's good.
And so then, if you recognize I'm not obligated, being able to respond with a healthy no.
Yes.
And not no coupled with apologies, not no coupled with excuses, just a good old-fashioned no,
Right.
right?
Mm.
And recognizing when you do that, you're also ushering yourself out of the grip of the power of they. What will they say? What will they think?
Yeah.
What will they do?
Yeah.
How will they feel? Well, that's none of your business.
Mm.
Because if we are going to stay in our lane, that no is the start of a proper boundary.
Yes.
And so that's the long answer to your question, because we could do a whole retreat on that.
Yes, we can.
Hint, 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 maybe we should.
I'm
Right?
telling you, that's
Okay.
good. Yeah, absolutely.
But that is the start. Prioritize your priorities. Start to set healthy boundaries and be okay with arriving at a decision that gives you that greater sense of well-being and peace. We cannot be all things to all people. And when we try, we live a very fragmented life. And a fragmented life is not pleasing to the Father. How do I know that? Because Christ always started with the question, do you want to be whole? So wholeness is important to the Father. And we were never created to live in fragments.
Girl. Girl. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sometimes this life is about going to collect our pieces. And so when I'm speaking to women, whether in workshops or in coaching or just in conversation, I start to ask them, let's go back and determine where you've left pieces. Because I'm going to need you to go back and get them. Because we're going to need those pieces for your journey, right?
Right.
We can't move forward in your life in pieces. That journey back may be hard,
Right.
right? It may be painful,
Right.
but it is worth it
Yes.
to go back and reclaim those pieces so that when we proceed, we're proceeding from a place of wholeness, the very GPS moment that Christ calls us to. Do you want to be made whole?
My God.
That's the starting point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Whew. Listen, this has been an complete and utter joy to have you on today to share on my podcast. Thank
me
you
too.
for your presence. And how can people be connected? Please give them your social media information on how they can be connected to what you're doing.
Sure. So I can be found on Facebook at Katrina Hutchins. Dr. K is in parentheses.
That's
That's
right.
me.
Yes.
I'm on LinkedIn,
Yes.
Katrina Hutchins. I'm on Instagram, Dr. K Inspires. My professional website is resourcesolutions.com, and that's RE-sourcesolutions.com. Don't forget the dash.
That's right.
But resourcesolutions.com. And certainly, if you want to be in touch with me, you can find me at all of those places. And I'd love to hear from your listeners.
Absolutely. Listen, y'all give it up for Dr. Katrina Hutchins, better known as Dr. K. Thank you, dear.
Thank you. Thank you so much.